won't stop till I hear him say,
Warning: the information that we convey in these videos and the content on this page simply provides general consumer information. It is not legal advice or regulatory guidance. It is not intended to sway your personal bias in any way. We are simply just relaying information already available to the general public. We highly suggest you do your own research and draft your own opinion on the topics disclosed in this video breakdown. Without further ado, sit back, relax, enjoy this video breakdown, and if you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, consider doing so now.
You can make profits sometimes like these by not following the crowd.
What is going on, CYPRX advanced YouTubers? Welcome back to the CYPRX YouTube page. In today's video breakdown, I have a very intuitive video breakdown for you all, sharing some video snippets. I'm going to go over some tweets that I put out to you guys. We're going to talk about the global liquidity crisis, macroeconomic perspectives, things that are taking place in this market that people need to be paying attention to. I have some video highlights from my favorite news YouTube channel, Stansberry Research. I'm going to play those for you guys. I'm also going to read some tweets. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this video breakdown. I hope that everybody is having an amazing weekend. I got this message from YouTube. I'm going to display it up here on the screen. I'm not going to read it to you all. You all can pause the video and read it yourselves. With that being said, I'm going to have to kind of monitor what it is that I give you guys on YouTube, mainly because I got another flag on YouTube saying that, the content that we are providing to individuals, again, speaking the truth, is just not amongst the common interest, right? So I'm going to leave it there. Blessings to you guys. I'm going to start this video off saying something positive to you all. I'm going to try and attempt to continue to do this. So this tweet that I have right here on the screen for you all before we get into the macroeconomic video breakdown, it says, "One must understand that controlling the mind is the most difficult task in the world. When one experiences failure in such an attempt, it should be followed with the determination to correct one's mistakes. Therefore, understanding controlling the mind is not impossible." #mindset. You guys take that or leave it. Again, I'm here as an individual, as an influencer, and my goal is simple: show my team and my followers that society is being misled by the elites. I'm here to give you proof, to set you all in the right direction. The people in charge of our nation are constantly feeding people lies. I am the hero that will call out those lies. I will stand up for what is right, and I will speak my mind. Blessings to you guys all. I do appreciate you all for returning to the CYPRX YouTube page. Smash that thumbs up button if you like and enjoy video breakdowns like this. And don't forget, before you head off, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Following these last two tweets before we jump into the video display, I said screenshot this 1998, 2008. I have been warning you about this on my Twitter page and this YouTube channel for quite some time, ladies and gentlemen. Ingredients like over-leverage, derivatives, and reliance on obsolete risk models, lessons are being ignored again. The next catastrophe will be exponentially larger than the last two, i.e. talking about 1998 and the 2008 financial crisis. The countdown has already begun. The 2030 Great Reset is among us. #cryptocurrency, #XRP. Moving on, the last tweet that I have for you all: isn't it crazy that we live in a world controlled by a group of elites who will go as far as starting a nuclear war? Ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned this to you on August 2nd, 2022. This is an important tweet right here. Going into these video breakdowns, listen to what James Rickard has to say to continue the rest of this tweet. A nuclear war scare in order to manipulate the markets, to sway the prices in their own favor. This will all lead to the benefit of their own pockets and not the people that they govern. Pay attention to this tweet. It is extremely crucial. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this video breakdown.
I'd like to begin with your recent thoughts on Russia, and then part two for the folks at home, we will be tackling the issue of inflation. But I'd like to start by getting your thoughts, obviously, on Russia and Ukraine. And something that you recently wrote, that what happens in Russia doesn't stay in Russia. Russia may be the first victim of U.S. sanctions, but the entire world will pay the final price. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. So that's kind of where I wanted to start with you today, is that the buck doesn't stop here, right? These are repercussions that will be felt for how many years, Jim?
Well, the repercussions may be felt for 10 years or longer, but the immediate impact is going to go well beyond the so-called sanctions. The point I was really making was we're slapping sanctions on Russia. Russia is hitting back with some retaliatory actions, and it's pretty easy to look at the direct impact of that. But there's second order and third order effects that will pop up all over the world and could very quickly get out of control. Think of it as the economic equivalent of a nuclear war. Nobody wants a nuclear war, but I studied a nuclear war fighting actually in the beginning of the late 1960s with Herman Kahn, Henry Kissinger, the Wallstetter, the leading scholars of the time, and they had different theoretical views. A lot of it was game theoretic. Personally, we didn't actually have a nuclear war, but the one thing they all said in common, the one thing they all shared was, "Don't go there." And what they meant was that nobody wakes up and says, "Oh, gee, I think I'll start a nuclear war today. What a good idea." That never happens. What does happen is you get into an escalatory situation, back and forth and back and forth, where you're escalating and escalating, and you end up in a nuclear war. You never intended it, never started out that way, but you end up there through escalation.
But before we unpack that and really go and take a deep dive there, the beauty of Twitter is that you can look back in history, and there's a tweet of yours that came up from 2015, Jen, because you're talking about how these things don't brew overnight. And back in 2015, this is the soothsayer that you are. You had written or tweeted, "Russia is arming Ukraine rebels, and U.S. is preparing to arm Kiev. So we'll have a nice little U.S.-Russia proxy war soon, just like #Vietnam." Did you expect anything like this?
These sanctions will not work to stop the war or slow the war or change the outcome of the war. Now, they absolutely punish the Russian economy. Yep. They punish Russian individuals, consumers, Russian citizens. They're going to have fewer options, more expensive goods. Their economy is going to slow down, unemployment will go up, the ruble is devalued. All those things are true. But they're also true in the United States. We're going to punish Americans far worse than the Russians. We're already seeing, I took a long trip yesterday. I filled up my car with gas at the end of the trip. It was $76. Used to be $45 to fill up my car. Now it's $76. Yeah. Not quite doubling. Well, multiply that by 200 million cars, and every consumer in the United States and elsewhere in the world, you're seeing the impact of this already. It's not like, oh, gee, it's coming. It's already here. It's going to get a lot worse. And when I say a lot worse, I'm not just talking about prices in the grocery store, which are going to go up a lot. They have gone up already. I mean, inflation's already here. Watch what's going to happen. Ukraine's kind of one of their nicknames is the breadbasket of Europe. They provide about Russia and Ukraine together provide about 25% of the grain exports in the world. And pick your country, but when you get to Africa, there are countries in Africa where they get almost 100% of their grain from Ukraine. Lebanon gets 100% of its grain from Ukraine. Those people are going to starve. There are not going to be any exports from Ukraine, and the U.S. has banned most exports from Russia. And Russia has retaliated by saying, we're not going to export you anyway, even if you didn't have a ban. You're on our banned list. But you take 25% of the world's grain exports off the market. Tell me what that does to the price of wheat. And by the way, wheat's not just a loaf of bread. Most grain is used to feed livestock. So it goes straight through the price of pork, chicken, beef, etc. You're looking at things doubling or more. And then that's if you can get it. Then behind that are shortages. We had a supply chain breakdown before any of this started. The supply chain has been breaking down in stages over the last several years. That became acute last fall. And everyone's like, oh, well, yeah, give it a month, we'll sort things out. No, it's getting worse. Now you put the Ukraine war on top of that and the economic sanctions on top of that, it's going to get a lot worse. So, well, my point is, this is where, when I made the comment, what happens in Russia doesn't stay in Russia. When you tell the Russians that they can't pay their debt, and so debt starts to falling all over the world, you don't know where it's going to pop up. But you're now playing, this is why I used the nuclear war analogy, you're playing with a global liquidity crisis. You're playing with a global liquidity crisis.
Now, with James Rickards mentioning the liquidity crisis, I want to take your attention to an article written by the Daily Huddle on October 26, 2018. The digital asset like XRP can help prevent the next financial crisis, Ripple co-founder Chris Larsen says. Ripple co-founder Chris Larsen says digital assets like XRP could play a major role in strengthening the global economy, helping avert the next financial crisis. At the Money 2020 conference in Las Vegas, Larsen described how cryptocurrency could prevent trillions in capital from being tied up. 10 years out from the financial crisis, we still don't have the infrastructure perhaps to prevent the next one. And I think this is where digital assets can really help, because an efficient digital asset can really solve some of the key problems in global liquidity. The world's got trillions and trillions of dollars tied up in liquidity just to get around how clunky the movement of value is around the world. With a really efficient digital asset, something like XRP, and that's what we believe will be the most efficient. You can now reduce trillions and trillions of dollars in capital from being tied up, so you can make those transfers instantly as a bank or as a payment provider for enterprises without having to have money pre-positioned all over the world. Traditional bank-to-bank fiat relationships, also known as nostro-vostro accounts, this arrangement is supported because it can be optimal for high-volume transaction corridors and uses existing banks-to-bank relationship and accounts. Third-party fiat relationships. This allows banks to prioritize the nostro accounts that make the most sense for them, but then augment them with third-party relationships that can overcome the high cost of liquidity and more expensive corridors. Banks can keep the nostro accounts they want and rely on this third party to handle their medium and lesser volume transaction corridors. The digital asset XRP, financial institutions can use XRP and its inherent benefits of speed, scalability, and low cost to expand reach into exotic or lower volume corridors without holding new or additional nostril accounts. XRP becomes an on-demand liquidity pool for transaction parties. Ladies and gentlemen, I highly advise that you do your research on the cryptocurrency XRP, XLM, HBAR, XDC, Quant, okay, things of that nature, utility-driven assets. This is not financial advice. There is a major digital and financial shift coming to our financial ecosystem. There is going to be a group of individuals in the future, okay, who did their research and participated in this financial shift. Ask yourself, are you going to be one of those individuals or one of those individuals who sat on the sideline, ignored this information, didn't do their research, and slipped on this type of content? Moving on, I said to you all, I feel sad for people who think that the SEC versus Ripple case will settle in Ripple's favor in September. Just because the end of the SEC fiscal year ends does not mean that they are going to try and bite the ego that they have created and settle in September. The sheep continue to follow the herd. Pay attention to this last statement in this tweet thread, because I said the sheep continue to follow the herd. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what gets 90% of individuals burned in this market. Taking your attention to the video display here, again, from Stansberry Research, one of my favorite news outlets on YouTube for free to watch. Check out some of these video snippets from this video clip.
Let's talk about your recent pennings, which I, read with a lot of fear here and concern, where you say we're definitely in the beginning of a global crisis. And, I'm reading the latest headlines from Russia. Putin, who's speaking very much so about the threat of a nuclear war.
You all heard it there. Key vocabulary, key phrases. Look at the date of this video, September 23rd, 2022, okay? Around the same time of this Putin conference or this Putin display of power, whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you want to call it, taking your attention back to the tweet thread that I mentioned to you all on August 2nd, so over a month and a half ago, where I said, isn't it crazy that we live in a world controlled by a group of elites who will go as far as starting a nuclear war scare in order to manipulate the markets to sway the prices in their own favor? This will all lead to the benefit of their own pockets and not the people that they govern.
But just want to stick to your narrative of this global turmoil. So, we mentioned Putin, we mentioned, the pressures that he's putting on Europe there. But you also speak about a recent speech from the President of the United States, Joe Biden, where he brought the message, and we remember it, he was on the stage with a bright red background, where he said that 75 million Americans are semi-fascists. Quote, you say this is supposedly the great danger the US faces. And it was also said that these Americans present a clear and present danger to the country.
I don't think it got enough attention because I think that no president has ever done that, declaring basically that 75 million people in the United States are the greatest danger to the country and declares they are terrorists. That's not very good because just because they have a different political opinion doesn't mean that they are terrorists. So this is a very dangerous signal. I've done a lot of reading about World War II. In the 1930s, there was a depression worldwide, not just the U.S. And out of that came big dictators, Stalin, Mussolini, Hitler, even Franco. It was really a very bad time. And it comes out of that situation. In Italy, they started with fascism. Fascism is really when the big companies cooperate with big government and to the detriment of the population. Fascism is really when the big companies cooperate with big government. Fascism is really when the big companies cooperate with big government.
I don't think about it so much as how do we turn the barge around as much as it is how do we help the barge be more successful. I don't think anybody here will be surprised that many in the crypto industry have evangelized things like overthrowing governments and down with banks. And from the earliest days at Ripple, I and we have taken the point of view that governments aren't going away. That sounds like a crazy statement to even say, hey, governments aren't going away. But look, we're at a blockchain summit. There are some in the crypto world who absolutely think, how do we get rid of governments? How do we get rid of banks? Ripple said, maybe pejoratively describing the banks and governments as barges, using your thing. So I don't mean in a mean way, but the best way to have the biggest impact is to engage the system, to get the barge to be far more efficient in terms of speed, in terms of cost, in terms of accuracy. And then you can have a bigger impact in enabling the internet of value and frankly impacting the whole economy, impacting the whole economy.
Fascism is really when the big companies cooperate with the government and to the detriment of the population. And so we have to get ready. It's 70 and 90 years. We have to get ready for the worst. But we also said at that time, we cannot change what is happening, okay? But we can at least help to protect ourselves. Make somebody see if there's some profit opportunities. The first thing is, be safe. Don't follow the common advice. You don't want to follow 95% of the advisors that are out there. You can make profits in times like these by not following the crowd, not following the crowd, not following the crowd. And so we call it this opportunities of a lifetime are ahead. It will not be a beautiful environment, but at least you can make some money to offset the losses that you will have in other places.
So with that being said, paying attention to some things that this gentleman said, and then also correlating that with what Brad Garlinghouse said, working with governments, okay? Now, that's something that I tweeted out to you all a while back, is that is one reason why Ripple, the company, will succeed in the future, is because they are trying to work and enhance the payment infrastructure that governments are already operating on, that the banking institutional giants are already operating on. They're trying to enhance that. Ladies and gentlemen, again, the devil's in the details. Do your personal research. I'm not a financial advisor. I want to leave you all with these two tweets here before we hop off of this video breakdown. Smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I said to you all, reverting back to that gentleman in the Stansberry Research podcast interview, I say, if you have to ask someone on Twitter for crypto price predictions every day of your life, why are you even operating in this market? The statistics speak for themselves. 95% of people lose money in this market. Taking your attention to a screenshot that I shared from Google, what percentage of traders lose money? It's been widely estimated that 95% of day traders ultimately lose money, and it's been empirically demonstrated that about the same percentage of unprofitable day traders continue despite losing money. I've told you all for quite some time that 90% of people on this market don't actually day trade. They make money off of your YouTube views via AdSense. If you're paying attention to Fibonacci Moon Boys that have been telling you since the beginning of November of last year that there is going to be some major altcoin season that happens in 2022, unfollow them, save your portfolio, subscribe to a YouTube channel that actually provides value to your portfolio, i.e. like this one. There are also a couple of other crypto and YouTube influencers out there that I do recommend to follow. However, the majority of people in this crypto space right now are saturating your mindset, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Leaving you all with this positive quote: most people have an overwhelming need to control the market. Do not be most people, as you heard it from this individual here. Do not follow the herd. Blessings to you all. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I do appreciate the love and the support. If you enjoyed this video breakdown, smash that thumbs up button. It does help boost the YouTube algorithm and push this video out to more individuals like yourselves. As always, ladies and gentlemen, be cognizant, be aware, and I will see you all in the next YouTube video breakdown.
Won't stop till I hear him say